Welcome. This is Ad Emmen reporting live from 4 meters below sea level from our downtown Almere studio. And today we talk to Anders Jensen, who is the director of the Euro-HPC joint undertaking. So welcome, Anders.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell a little bit about yourself, because you're new to Euro-HPC joint undertaking?
Sure. So I am Anders Jensen. I'm the newly appointed executive director for Euro-HPC. I've been in the job exactly 1 month today, and I have to say it's been like drinking from a fire hose. A lot of good things have been going on, but we've also been through a process to make the joint undertaking autonomous. One of the elements in that was me being in the seat, but behind the scenes, a lot of more things had to happen. We had to set up systems so that we could implement our own budgets, so that we could run our own business. All of that has been going on in the space of the last month. So it's been so far not a boring day during the month. So I'm very excited to be on board, and I'm very excited about what we're going to be doing going forward.
Okay, by the way, congratulations to your appointment. And I also saw that you assembled already quite a team around you. So it's not like you have to do it alone. You have...
That's correct. I'm very fortunate that there's a lot of good people that have been with this undertaking for a lot longer than me, who has joined the undertaking as well, and so we are a total of 11 people as we speak, and we are continuing to grow that staff. We have new hires coming in over the coming months, so there's a lot of there are good plans for us to be able to stand on our own 2 feet and take the ambitious agenda forward.
I know it's already a long time ago, more than a month ago, but what did you do before joining the joint undertaking?
So what did I do before? I've done basically 3 very different pillars in my life. I started out doing a decade of you can say R&D, where I did chip design for embedded systems and software for embedded systems, and then I was working. After that, I joined an airline, actually here in Luxembourg, and we set up an IT company to serve as airlines, and I was there for a decade as the chief technology officer. And then finally I moved to NATO, and for the last 9 years I've been running the IT of NATO headquarters. And that, you can say, gives me, so I know what it is to do research, I know what it is to do development, I also know what it takes to run a service provider, and finally I know something about international environment and international organizations, so and public procurement.
Okay, that sounds all very good. So the joint undertaking, it started out somewhere in 2017, I think in March. So where are we today? What's the current status?
So I mean, you're right. It started out in its infancy. I believe it was 2018. Going from there, and really, what has happened now is that all of this work has come to fruition with us becoming autonomous. But leading up to that has been a lot of work from colleagues within the Commission. That has gotten us to the point where we are today, and that includes the agenda that we'll be discussing also around the machine, the procurements, and so on. While I've had the pleasure of coming in, you can say, to take the victory lap and sign some contracts, that is of course all the work that has been done before we became autonomous by the Commission in order to go through the bidding rounds for systems, doing all the evaluations, and all of that being lined up so that once we declared autonomy, I could start signing those contracts on behalf of the joint undertaking. But during the last 2 years, a very significant amount of work has been done, leading us to where we are today, where we've signed. I've had the pleasure of signing for 3 petascale systems, and you will you will, during the week that comes, you will see more announcements. The aim is still to get to the 8 machines by having those signed off by the end of this year.
Yeah, and what I understand correctly, the systems will all be operational early next year, or?
So I mean, at the end of the day, we need to sign the contracts. We need to agree the implementation dates. Some of them will be earlier than others. The expectation is as early as March we'll have some of the first systems live. But of course, those that we have yet to sign, which are also the bigger systems, they of course take a little longer. So our hope and aim is definitely everything will be live next year. And some will be earlier, some will be later.
The promise from the commissioners was that we would have 3 systems of the Euro HPC in the top 5. Will we reach that, and when?
That is still the ambition. So, and of course, those are the 3 final systems that you'll see some announcements in the weeks here to come. So for those systems, the aim is very much still to be up there. Yeah.
Okay, and the other ones, the total should be somewhere in the top 50. I mean, the small
also
ones.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but when I understand that we will have to wait for the November list next year to see whether we reach that.
For the final systems, perhaps again, I can't prejudge what the discussions with the companies will be, but the clear goal has to be that they're in production for 21.
Yeah, of course, it's not that important to be on the top of the list. I mean, I think we are all in the community happy that the Fujitsu is now on top because they're doing very nice research on COVID. Each day you see something new, so it's this type of research that we hope that will come out of the systems, of course. Apart from the systems, there's also projects, innovation projects. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, so that's also an agenda that has been pushed very heavily by both the Commission and the staff that's now within the joint undertaking for the past time, and basically where we are with that is that we have a couple of projects that have now started in and around competency centers. We have 19 projects that's under evaluation from our last call, and they're being evaluated now, and grants will be issued on those. We've also had our pre-exascale pilot out, and we've gotten responses on those. So it's an agenda that's building up. There's quite a lot going on, but again, all of it was waiting for the joint undertaking to be fully up and running. So we're pushing that out. We will have one call that we're putting together now, which is really exciting in and around training, education on HPC, and we're working together with the different stakeholders and participating states now to finalize that call. There will be much more information coming out on this as the plot unfolds.
The joint undertaking, it's a separate legal entity, and as you said, there was a lot set up from the start. I think it was modeled after the Excel joint undertaking, which is more in hardware. What are the lessons learned after, let's say, 2 years of joint undertaking?
So on the lessons learned, you can say I may not be the best placed to speak about it, because having come in a month ago, this is what I've learned, you know, and I don't think I'm in a good place to comment on Excel, other than the fact that from what I hear, they're also quite successful. We do have there is one fundamental difference, which is that the co-investment in procurement is something that we're doing, whereas the Excel setup is more, as I understand it, in and around grants and research. So what is very unique to EuroHPC is these procurement actions where we are co-funding machines with participating states or consortiums of participating states.
The idea of the joint undertaking is that we put together resources, financial resources from the countries, together with financial resources from the European Union, which means that we need to have some kind of co-financing scheme. How did that work out during the first, let's say, 2 years?
So personally, I think everyone agrees that that's worked out really well. We've all managed to get, well, the machines will now be delivered, but they will be bigger than if we'd invested on our own. So I think what has been created with EuroHPC is the potential for true win-win. We all get better and bigger equipment, access to better and bigger equipment by co-funding, by putting our eggs together rather than everyone buying their own equipment. And what we've seen, and I think that is something that's been very positive, and may not have been originally envisaged, but is even on the national funding side, the participating states have joined in consortiums in order to pool their money along with the money coming from the Commission. So we've really managed to get access to some machines that may not have been possible, at least for some participating states on their own.
Yeah, so for the systems it worked out fine, but for the projects I think it worked out not as good as was hoped.
So for the projects, this is one of the discussions I'm currently having with the governance board members. Being new in is to take stock of where they wish to have, where they would like to see things differently. I think there are various views on what could be tuned on the project side, and I'm very much listening to those so that we can try and adjust course if it's required. There has been some, if you look at the pipeline, there's been some really interesting projects and also project consortiums. So I think there are successes amongst it. Whether we can broaden the participation, I think that would be very positive if we can further broaden the participation in some of the calls. But again, that's something where I'm going to have to get my teeth into that and understand the different views.
Okay. Yeah, in some countries, like I just mentioned a small country, well, actually it's here, the Netherlands, some people are not that happy, not with the joint undertaking, but with the fact that the co-financing was so very difficult and basically non-existing. So that means that you have to do co-financing yourself, etc., which is kind of complicated, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah, we'll see in the next phase. So, which brings us to the Commission proposed a new council regulation, and the council regulation is in fact the legal basis for the whole joint undertaking and all the co-financing. And the reason is that the previous one did run until the end of this year, so you need one that will cover until 2026 or 2027. What will be the process? I mean, the Commission did now propose that, and what will happen next?
So, as you correctly say, that is a proposal of the Commission, and right now that is between the Commission and member states and participating states to negotiate this. I cannot prejudge the outcome of that. All I can say is that the proposal that's on the table is extremely exciting and includes some very interesting elements. I think from my point of view, new in the seat, it's fantastic to see such a backing. It's clear that it is believed that what we're doing in EuroHPC and what we will be doing going forward is extremely important to Europe. And you can't ask for a better backing sitting in my seat than that. And it includes some fantastic new elements. Some are natural extensions of what we've already done. Of course, we need to continue into the exascale, post-exascale, and so on. But there's also the notion of what happens to quantum computing, what happens to neurologic processing, and so on, which it's just extremely fascinating. But I'm here to administrate the current regulation as it is until I'm given new regulation. I'll be monitoring it closely, but it is I'm the operational arm, you can say, or the executing arm, and the Commission will be the ones negotiating the new regulation.
Yeah, of course, and we have to wait until the Council finally approves it, etc. And yeah, one of the questions, of course, is when will we have exascale in Europe? Until now, the plans are 2023. Are we still on track for that?
That is one of the things that the new regulation sets out, and I think it's an ambitious target, and we should work towards it. I think we all need to recognize that there's a number of there's some research, there's some work that needs to go into that. So I must admit that's one of the things I think is extremely exciting, is to be able to plot out that agenda so that we can reach that ambitious target. So yeah, from my point of view, that is what's being laid out in the new regulation as the ambition. So that's what we're going to have to work to.
Yep. And what I understand is that, correct me if I'm wrong, that the plans are still to have a machine which is as fast as possible and another machine which is also as fast as possible, but is using as much European technology as possible too. So,
I mean, the aim is definitely, and I think that is a very important goal of EuroHPC, is to get European technology into the game, and whether it's one machine or whether it's both of them, I think at the end of the day, the aim must be that we go for as much European technology as we can, and we set the research agenda to make sure that we develop that knowledge in the areas where we may be, in order to get to that goal.
And when I see the plans, there's also talk of post-exascale systems, but that will be 2026 or something like that. So the proposal from the Commission is to the end of, let's say, 2027.
The proposal is basically that we wish to continue to lead in the field. So of course we need to continue to have bigger and bigger machines in order to maintain that lead. I mean, we're now investing heavily in the machines, in the 8 machines. But of course, if we just sit then afterwards and watch those, well, then give us a couple of years and we'll be back to square one. So I think that's also why I find the proposal of the Commission very, very exciting, is because it demonstrates that we need to continue to invest in the field. So yes, at the end of the day, once we've managed to climb the hill that's exascale, well, there will be another hill afterwards, because if we stop, then we're back to square one. So.
Yeah, because there's also a plan to have accelerators like quantum and neuromorphic. So
yeah, and I find that's an exciting parallel track to start looking at, and find out exactly, because we still need to find the good applications and so on for these technologies. But if we don't look at them, we risk being in a situation where the world outside of Europe may have found those applications ahead of us. So I think it's important that we make sure that the knowledge, that we build up the knowledge, and that we're able to deliver on those things.
Yeah, concerning the financing for the next period, there are some. How do you say that? It's not clear to everyone how that works. what I understand is that the financing will be from the next framework program, so that runs until 2027. But the cost that will be spent until 2033 or something like that. Because, of course, if you acquire a machine in 2027, you still have to maintain it. So, yeah. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, again, I have to be careful with saying correct, because this is the proposal of the Commission. So
did I read the proposal correct? That's my question.
But it is clear, if we were to put in the last machine in 27, it would be absolutely, it would be really silly not to continue to operate it, right? So, but we are, so of course just like the machines that are being delivered now as part of 2020 will continue to operate into the next era. So,
okay.
So, yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, that's the logic answer.
Yeah. I'm already thinking about after that period. So, yeah.
No, of course, my ambition will be that this is successful, so successful that, of course, there will be another round of funding for the next MFF. That has to be the goal.
Okay. So I think we will never have a dull moment in the coming years. So.
No, I mean, give me another couple of months to get properly into the seat, and then. But so far, it hasn't been dull.
Okay. Thank you very much for this interview.
Anytime.
For Primeur Magazine, this was Ad MN reporting.